Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. We're going to be talking about the solar eclipse in Aries on March 29th tonight for a fresh start for all of us, which is going to be quite nice actually. So enjoy this live stream. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning. I'm Joshua the Psychic, and you can check out my website, psychicsun.com, if there's anything I can do for you. So eclipses, if you didn't know, are cosmic events that serve as course corrections or catalysts for change. They push you in the direction that you should be in, meaning what's best for your soul's purpose, what you've decided to do before you got here, what you may have decided to do earlier in the year or even 6 months ago, right? Because every year we have eclipse season, and they push us into this new territory. So under those new moons, you may have made intentions, and now the train has left the station, and the eclipses are saying, okay, well, we need to jostle things around a bit. Eclipses occur in pairs, and they signal a period of intensified energy. So we had eclipses last fall. We're going to have eclipses again in the fall, summer and fall of 2025. And it is intensified energy. The cycle we're going through right now, before we hit our new moon solar eclipse in Aries, is the full moon lunar eclipse that we had in Virgo. And that brought up a lot of stuff to the surface, or is bringing up a lot of stuff to the surface. So we have to learn what we don't want and get that out of the way. That's the order of operations. You got to make space, right? And the eclipse cycle that we're going through now has brought a lot of negative energy perhaps to the surface. So you want to not judge yourself. You just want to allow your emotions to flow through you and go away and disappear and transform. So you want to release the energy and not judge yourself if you find that you've been persnickety lately or highly negative or toxic. You know, it's part of your process. So go through it. Let it go. And the more you can let go now, the easier it's going to be for you to manifest come the 29th. Hey, Haley, nice to see you. Thanks for joining tonight. So pivotal moments of personal and collective growth. We're all changing during this period. Hidden truths may come to light. And it's going to be important for you to be gentle with yourself and to roll with the punches. Okay, this happened. What's my next plan? Hey, Casimar, nice to see you. Good evening to you. So eclipses are a rite of passage. So the Sabian symbol, we have this eclipse at 9 degrees Aries. We look at the 10-degree Aries point. So it's a teacher gives new symbolic forms to traditional images. And I'd say, you know, Aries being the leader of the zodiac, one of the leaders, you want to determine how you're a teacher and how you are giving new symbolic forms to traditional images, meaning how are you innovating things, right? We'll talk about how Pluto is making a nice aspect to this eclipse. So we're transforming. The keynote for that Sabian symbol is the capacity for self-transcending. So how can we go beyond ourselves? What role have you been playing that is no longer punching your ticket? So if you're playing this role of somebody who's always upset about this or always annoyed about this or always feeling unfulfilled about that, like you've gotten your script, you've practiced it, you know, think of it in terms of a storyline. Like if you were watching this on TV, you'd be like, well, what's up with this character? All of a sudden, everything is working out well for her. You'd be like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. So just like that, for us, we have to start practicing new roles. What new role are you going to be in? Are you going to be in that role of somebody who always gets whatever she wants? Are you going to be in that role of somebody who's always left empty-handed, right? Sunflowers, nice to see you. Thanks for joining tonight. So its meaning, the Sabian symbol, is a desire to reach a higher level of existence, pure aspiration of devotion. And we get some beautiful energy that we get to play with that I'm going to talk to you about tonight. But it's about how can you enhance your life? Life is supposed to be joyful. And it's joyful when you're expressing your most authentic self. So the lunar eclipse cycle that we're in now, it's bringing all of this stuff to the surface. And it's helping us to say, okay, yeah, this isn't going to work. If I want to live this kind of life, I can't be in this dirty bathwater. So it might be bringing stuff up for you, and be gentle with yourself and know that this too shall pass if you're going through it. So the sun entered Aries. If you're catching this live, happy spring. I'm really excited about it. I felt the shift. At least I think I felt the shift. I don't know. Did it technically move into Aries? Let me make sure. It could be a placebo. Let's see. I think it did. Yes, officially, we are at 0 degrees Aries. So happy spring, everyone. Aries is the very, very first sign of the zodiac. It's a fire sign, the fieriest of fire signs. And it symbolizes new beginnings, initiation, and courage. Aries is governed by Mars, planet of action, energy, and assertiveness. And it embodies qualities of leadership, independence, and a pioneering spirit. So we're all going to have to take that step up, right? And when you know, you'll know. So it's a wonderful new time for new beginnings. However, although we have fiery Aries, who is sometimes impulsive and shoots before they ask questions or leaps before they look, because Mercury is retrograde, you really need to slow it down a bit. Now, that being said, there are going to be some things you're going to have to take action on, and some things might be irrepressible. It's really positive. It feels really good. You have all your bases secure. Nothing bad could come to you from this. Go for it. Just because Mercury's retrograde and Venus is retrograde and it's eclipse season, life doesn't just stop to a grinding halt, right? There are going to be things that you're going to have to do, and certain things actually might be really inspired. And depending on where the eclipse is hitting in your chart, you might be having to absolutely make a momentous decision. And if so, well, like I said, make sure your bases are secure and do it. But if you can afford the luxury of relaxing a little bit, give yourself that grace, because it's a wonderful period of reflection and introspection. With Mercury retrograde, it's time for you to review your plans. How do you communicate? And with Mercury in Aries, I mean, we're very inclined to shoot first and ask questions later. We're very inclined to jump the gun. And with Mercury retrograde, even more so, we need to not do that, right? It's an opportunity to revisit past issues and resolve misunderstandings. I'd say it's the most important thing is to review your identity as a communicator. Are you a good communicator? Where can you look back and really say, okay, well, I kind of messed this up, or this probably wasn't the best course of action. I think the big thing with these retrogrades is let's not make the same mistakes twice. Like the first time, second time, okay, now it's a choice. Now we're actively doing it, right? So you want to make sure that you're reviewing what you've done, what you've said, how you've communicated, and determine, does that work? Is that the best you, right? So the more you can slow down, the better. In addition to Mercury, we have Venus retrograde until April 12th. So in terms of relationships, the big thing is that we're finding out what it is we're actually looking for. Where is it we've been? Where do you want to go? How do you want to experience love and beauty and sensuality in your life? What do you really value now? Because Venus is all about your values, and that's what happiness is at the end of the day. It's value fulfillment. So do you have new values? With Uranus being in Taurus for the past 7 years at this point, all of our values have been switched around a little bit. Even if you have the same top 4 values, they may have shuffled, right? So you want to check in with yourself. What do you really care about? What would make your life amazing? What would make your life just a pure joy in which you're absolutely in love with every facet of your life? So reevaluate your values, look at your connections. Sometimes relationships aren't meant to go on forever, right? They say, or some might say, there are no bad relationships, just some that last longer than others. That's not really true. There could be bad relationships. But my point is that you may have outgrown certain things, and that between Venus retrograde and these eclipses, you might be like ready to move on. Venus retrograde is an opportunity to heal, to let go of old patterns, and rediscover your self-worth. So, remember to give yourself a little bit of tough love. The sun is in Aries now, so you can handle it. You're a tough cookie when the sun is in Aries. So you got to realize, like, okay, you're the common denominator here. It's like life starts happening when the finger pointing, we say, oh, okay, I got to take responsibility for this. It's my pattern of behavior. So you want to have an amazing spring, and you're going to have an amazing spring. But with these eclipses and these retrogrades, we're figuring out what the problem is here. What am I doing wrong? And it's a matter of how do you want to flow your energy and what do you want to experience? What constitutes a banner year for you in 2025 and beyond? What new era do you want to go into? How do you want your life to feel? And that's going to be very important with this triple conjunction with Pisces that I'll talk to you about. So we have another thing that's going to be happening that's a very big deal. One day after this eclipse, on March 30th, Neptune will enter Aries for the very first time in 164 years. That's a big deal, right? We had a civil war last time this happened. Not saying that we'll have one again, but that theme of autonomy and saying, you know what? This is good for me. You can do what you want, but this is my path. This is what I want to do. So when Neptune enters Aries, it's going to stay there until October 22nd. Then it's going to backpedal back into Pisces. Same thing with Saturn. When Saturn enters Aries in May, it's going to back right into Pisces again before it stays in Aries for longer. So it's a time for bold dreams and a spiritual awakening. It's time to ignite your passion, dissolve your fear, and embrace reinvention. Who do you want to be? And you're also going to get an opportunity to really make things happen. With Neptune having been in its home sign of Pisces, it's been really great. We've been very imaginative and very intuitive and even compassionate. But now with Neptune entering Aries, now it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? This is a great imaginative thing you've come up with. Awesome. Okay, well, fire your shot. Make it happen. And I think with Saturn in Aries, which is going to happen this spring, it's going to be so much easier to execute. Because Aries is a doer. I mean, Aries do get stuff done. And yes, they might not be fastidious, but they get the job done. I always look at Aries as like, they do the spot cleaning. Like they'll vacuum around the coffee table instead of like moving the coffee table. But at the end of the day, if they have company, well, nobody's going to be saying, oh, they didn't vacuum their floor because they didn't move the coffee table. My point being that Aries can be very scrappy, and that's not a bad thing. And I think that when Neptune does enter Aries, it's going to be easier for us to just execute, and it's better to have something done and then you move forward, as opposed to being in this space of idle workshop, idly daydreaming and being in your imagination and not pushing it. Thank you for your super chat, Casmar. Do I mean we can redirect ourselves? Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a big part of Neptune and Aries. Aries energy is all about the self. It's I am. And it's about you determining your identity. Who do you want to be? Because Nietzsche would say that that's who you really are. So if you want to be this person, if you want to move in this different direction, who is your identity? Who are you stepping up as? Who's this new you? And then, as you say, you get to redirect yourself to wherever you want to go. So, yeah, thank you for your question and your super chat. So we got a few aspects that we're going to talk about here for this new moon at the end of March. We have a beautiful sextile with Jupiter and Gemini. It's a little bit wide, but you can reach. This is about optimism and expansion. It's about seizing opportunities for growth and adventure. It's a boost for bold actions and confident new beginnings. So do whatever it is that you can to make sure that your mind is a nice neighborhood. Happy, nice neighborhood with expansion and growth. And do what you can to get it outside of yourself. I think the thing with Jupiter and Gemini, it's going to help us to see beyond ourselves and really even look a little bit ahead. We also will have the new moon in Aries sextiling Pluto in Aquarius. So this is very, very transformative. You know, I feel like with these aspects and these eclipses, it's going to be more difficult to stay the same than it is going to be to transform. You may as well just transform. Harnessing deep change for personal growth. What do you need to let go of? You're probably going to get an idea of that during the current lunation, this full moon in Virgo lunation up until the 29th. And it's a time for bold actions that lead to lasting transformation. And I would caveat that with bold actions, make sure you're integrating all your values and looking before you leap, measuring twice and cutting once. Because we do have these eclipses. We do have these retrogrades. So you may not have all the answers. And if you break up with somebody, by the way, under Mercury retrograde, you most likely will get back together with them, or it won't be resolved. And that is actually a good way of working with the retrograde. Say you want to leave somebody, or you want to quit a job or whatever. If you do under Mercury retrograde and it's well thought out, you're kind of leaving the door ajar. But I would say that you want to make sure that you're making moves in terms of things that have already been in process. For instance, if you've been thinking about leaving your job in January, well, now things might happen. It's not like a bad thing for you to move your job or leave your job under the eclipse or under these retrogrades. Aspect 3, you get a triple conjunction. Now, this is where your imagination comes in. Venus backs into Pisces, where it's exalted, and it joins the North Node and Neptune. Now, Pisces is that energy of magic. It's about making heaven on earth. And with this triple conjunction with the North Node, which is our fated destiny, our collective destiny, there's probably going to be things that happen that are fated, that are destined. That's why, I mean, you when you hear the call, if it feels right to you, irrespective of what's going on in the stars, go for it. It's time to embrace love, creativity, and spiritual growth. You're going to get very imaginative during this period. If you're an artist, you are in luck. You could probably create some great, great things. I would pay attention to your dreams and have an outlet for your creativity and your imagination. Escape in a healthy way. It's a powerful time for aligning with your true path and deeper desires. So that's why with Pisces energy as well as 12th house energy, you win by letting go, surrender and let go. And that's also a really good thing to do under these retrogrades and eclipse season. With eclipse season, you want to let the universe have its way with you. So let the path appear. Don't try to force it. Let it appear and allow what you want to emerge. You got to expect and allow the things that you want to come to fruition. You also have Mars in Cancer, which is very important because we have the new moon in Aries, right? And Aries is ruled by Mars. And Mars is debilitated in Cancer. Mars is actually happiest, not in Aries, but in Capricorn, where it's exalted. Because then our Mars energy gets some kind of structure, right? So Mars is unhappy in Cancer. However, it is making a nice trine to Saturn, which is good. But it is making a square to Chiron and Aries. So as we're moving forward, we're going to be feeling like, oh, geez, can I do this? I feel insecure. I don't know. So that's going to be completely normal. And actually, I think it's a good thing that this square is happening, because what is it going to do? It's going to make you slow down. So you want to face any emotional wounds through courage and self-assertion. You got to make the decision. Nobody's going to come to you and say, oh, you need to heal this aspect of your life in order to go forward in your new identity and make all your dreams come true. You have to be the one that says, okay, this is what we're going to do here. You got some pain, which is probably being brought up now, and you got to heal that pain in order to have that fresh slate, that fresh start for this new moon eclipse. It's a time to heal by confronting past hurts and taking bold steps forward. Do what you can to forgive and forget and let go. Because as soon as you wind up forgiving, you get more energy, right? And you want to have as much energy as possible, right? So let's go through every single sign of the zodiac and talk about what you can expect and how you can make the most of this time. For Aries, of course, this is in your sign. So it's a big deal, Aries. It's about your identity, your self-construct, your personality, your image, because everything that you wind up achieving, it comes first by you seeing yourself being able to do it. If I don't think I have a shot in hell at getting this job or attracting this person, well, I'm right. It's like that expression, whether you think you can do it or you don't think you can do it, you're right. So you're going to have an opportunity to really have a boost in confidence and energy. I would definitely, during this current eclipse, this full moon in Virgo, which is probably not great for Aries, find out what's coming up and just say, do I need this in my life? Is this a pain in the ass that I can really deal without? You're going to experience most likely a greater willingness to take risks. So this is going to be really opening up a lot of things for you. And it's a time for you to pursue new and exciting opportunities. Now, because of the retrogrades and their shadow periods, they may not come straight away. I'm looking at May. I think May is going to be gorgeous. You're going to have these planets that are retrograde. You're going to have them out of their post-shadow periods. So I would keep an eye on May or June for exciting opportunities. We chose for you, or we pulled for you, Queen of Swords. Now, I think this is very important because Queen of Swords, Aries as a archetype, the queen that she would be aligned with is Queen of Wands. But Queen of Swords is very cool. She's very intellectual. And she thinks. And she cools down that fire. And I think it's important that you got Queen of Swords because this is saying you want to relax a little bit and you want to really use your brain. You want to be disimpassioned to a certain extent because you could be getting upset about things that are much ado about nothing. I think with all these retrogrades, especially they're in your sign, right? Currently, anyway, Mercury is, right? Or Mercury Venus, right? So you want to be a little bit cool and use your brain. Don't jump to conclusions. This is not a time for drama. So it's better for you to be disimpassioned than overly dramatic. Don't do it. Don't do it. Express yourself in some healthy way. So be cool like Queen of Swords. She's sort of like a lawyer. And a good lawyer is disimpassioned. If you ever hire a lawyer and they're a hothead, that's not good. The client should be the hothead, not your lawyer. So you want to be like her. You want to be cool. Marlo in the making. I saw something the other day, Marlo, and I was like, it was a notebook and it was called Marlo. And I'm like, where do I know that name? And it was you. Nice to see you, Marlo. Happy Friday Eve. So for Taurus, this is hitting your 12th house, Taurus. So it's time for you to go to bed. Get your extra rest. I mean, it's wonderful to sleep under these retrogrades because you're not going to mess anything up. I mean, how can you screw anything up if you're sleeping, right? So get your extra rest. It's a time for you to really understand what's going in the back of your mind. Like, what are your subconscious beliefs? How does this work? How does this world work for you? It is also a time, not just for you to understand your internal workings and how you operate mentally, psychologically, but it's a big ending for you. You're closing up a huge cycle, and you're moving on from past hurts. This is a great time for you to, say, all right, well, that was an experience. I learned my lesson and I'm going to forgive and send this person off with love. Definitely do whatever you can to not hold on to resentments. It's just it's like keeping food in the fridge that's gone bad. When you get new groceries, there's not going to be room for it. So you want to clear things out. Increase peace you can experience during this period. Again, you want to just make peace of mind your only goal for the time being. And you want to allow yourself to determine what old stories are no longer relevant. Because even though you might be leaving a self-construct that no longer works for you, i.e. somebody who never gets the job or never gets the guy or whatever, you're still addicted or attached to that self-concept. And you're you. So you may have fallen in love with the side of you that no longer fits. It's good that you love every single side of yourself, but you also want to give yourself that grace to evolve and change and fall in love with your new self, with your new values. We pulled for you 10 of Cups. So this is happily ever after. This is like closing an emotional cycle. What emotions are you no longer going to be experiencing? What emotions do you want to be chief? Meaning, what do you want your dominant trait to be? Do you want to have that dominant emotion of joyfulness, of happiness, of ease, of flow? And what do you need to put to rest in order to achieve that? Because most likely under a 12th house eclipse, you're ending something or a series of some things. So pin a bow on it, say happily ever after. This was good. I'm not dealing with this anymore. And off you go. So Gemini, this new moon solar eclipse is hitting your 11th house. So it's all about your friends, your hopes, your dreams, your community. And with Pluto in Aquarius, there's a lot of power that people will have. There's a power in the collective. So you may find that there's new beginnings for you in terms of a new ideal that you're coming up with. You're like, you know what? I wasn't expecting to go into this, but this would be my ideal scenario. Or I think I'm going to get married again. I think I really want to get married, or whatever it might be. There's new hopes, there's new dreams, there's new wishes for you. You can also expect a nice, stronger support network. You want to make sure that you're around those people who are doing what you're doing or want to do what you want to do, because there's that power with the collective for you. You're going to get ahead when you're part of that group. Even if you're not part of a group per se, like maybe you're not going to these group functions, you might want to self-identify as part of that group. Yeah, I'm one of those people who always makes the most of everything, or I'm one of those people that are at the top of my field, whatever it might be. But really work mentally with that sense of network. And you can really gain a lot from community. There's a power in community. There's a power of collective people. So you want to really tap into that. The card we pulled for you is the Hierophant. So this is about doing the right thing. And that's a good rule of thumb under the eclipse, right? Because we're dealing with a lot of feelings and emotions that we don't normally deal with. Things are being brought up. Things are being jostled around. We have these retrogrades. We're not thinking clearly. We're not sure about how we feel about things. So you want to do the right thing. I'd also say with the Hierophant, in terms of your groups, you got to determine what your values are and make sure that your values are aligned with the group values. Otherwise, you need to find a new group. And a new group might emerge for you very, very easily this solar eclipse cycle. It might take a while. It could take up to 18 months. It could take another week, whatever, right? But over the next 6 months at least, allow yourself to really determine what your values are, and if that group that you're connected to or want to connect with, identify also with those values. So Gemini, this is a big deal for you. It's an angular transit Cancer. It's an angular transit, 10th house. So it's about your career, your status, your contribution, what you're most passionate about. So you can expect this to bring you opportunities for career success and recognition, a greater sense of direction and purpose. Like when you find your purpose, oh, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's really what I should do to make the world a better place and to feel creatively fulfilled. You're going to get that sense. And when you get your purpose, doors open for you. Things become much easier. You know, rule of thumb is, what are you doing for other people? What are you doing for the world? Because as soon as you try to help other people, the universe steps in and be like, well, we've been trying to help them, but we can't do it ourselves. We need somebody like you to do it. So if you want to help people, it's going to help you move faster in your own trajectory. So you're going to be able to progress toward your professional goals. If you're not leaving your career, you're probably going to be able to open up a new opportunity in the current career you're in. We pulled for you 8 of Cups. So even if you're in the career that you like, and you're looking to go to that next level, you still got to move on from what you were doing before. Say you were at, say an 8 in your field, and you want to get to a 10. You got to allow yourself to move away from that 8. How do you want to be perceived? Are you ready to walk away from that? Are you ready to walk away from that old role in order to level up? I think it's interesting that this is a new moon, which is, it's a solar eclipse. So that changes things a little bit. It's almost like beginning, ending, ending, beginning. It could be both. It could be either. But for you, the big thing is 8 of Cups. And you also want to look and see, are you abandoning success? Are you leaving something that you haven't given it enough time? Because the 10th house is about long-term plans. It's not about quick fixes. So determine what really matters to you, what has heart and meaning. Walk away from what no longer does and give it a little bit of time. Practice some patience if what you are involved in still matters to you. So Leo, this one is hitting your 9th house. This is kind of easy for you. It's about taking a leap of faith. How can you go beyond your stretch? How can you expand? You might expand through going to school, going back to school, or taking a class, right? Or you could visit a foreign land. But there's new horizons for you to explore. It's going to really help you to get out of your normal surroundings. It's going to help for you to leave behind what you find familiar. And it's going to be great with new opportunities and adventures that are going to be ahead for you. You don't know what you don't know. And with this transit, it's one of those things, like you kind of have to go away or at least leave something that's familiar in order to get that perspective. It's almost like looking in this room for something that you lost and you're not leaving that room and you're trying to find it, but it's in another room. You got to give yourself that other room, that other perspective. And you're going to be able to expand your knowledge and worldview. I mean, in the old days, travel was education because you learn how to be tolerant. You learn about other cultures. You got the Knight of Wands that we pulled for you. So that's about just going for it, right? Knight of Wands is like lightning. You know, I want to go here. All right, well, let's go on the internet and let's get a ticket or start planning your trip if you're trepidatious about booking something under these retrogrades, right? Do your research. Where do you want to go? What do you want to see? Where are there some good places that excite you, right? The Knight of Wands also can be about really going for broke. Like the Knight of Wands is that guy who's in love with the girl and she's getting married, right? And her family's there and his family is there. And the guy rushes into the wedding and says, when the priest says, speak now or forever hold your peace. And this Knight of Wands guy, he's the guy that goes in and says, she loves me and I love her, right? Like in that moment, he's either going to get the girl or he's going to fail miserably. And that's really the energy of Knight of Wands. You're going for broke. But the greater the risk, the greater the reward. So allow yourself to go out on a limb. I would say, you know, because we are under these retrograde period, these retrogrades and eclipse season a little bit crazy. Don't feel like you got to do this straight away. But over the next 6 months, you know, what are you going to do to fire your shot? What are you going to do to go beyond your stretch? What are you going to do to go beyond the familiar and take a leap of faith? So Virgo, this one is a bit intense for you. Like an 8th house transit, something's going to end. Let's just call it out. Something's going to end, right? It could be a boundary that you have. Maybe you are setting a boundary and saying, you know what? I'm not dealing with this person, place, or thing anymore. Or it could be you're dissolving a boundary. Oh, I like this person. I like this. I think I'm going to move in a little bit closer, right? It really is about your comfortability with other people and your sharing capacity. The 8th house is how we're stronger when we're combining our resources with other people. And I feel like, you know, this is a heavily psychological transit for you, Virgo, in that you're going to understand your own crap. You're going to understand your own psychology, you know, your woundedness or your trauma. So you're not, you know, it's not going to be completely easy. Even if it's very rewarding, it probably won't be easy. But you'll be able to deepen your emotional connections with others once you get more emotional intimacy with yourself. So I would say that's first and foremost, to really be there for yourself. Greater intimacy in your relationships. Again, greater relationship that you have with yourself with further intimacy, especially emotional intimacy. That's going to help you to open up to somebody else. And more trust and closeness in a lot of your relationships. But it starts with you. So determine what you need to let go of. Understand your psychology. Know thyself. Right? We pulled the Hermit card for you, which is kind of perfect. It's your card in the tarot. Virgo is ruled by the Hermit. And also, it's a card of healing. Now, the Hermit is obviously, he seems to be alone, but sometimes this card can indicate you actually leaving your alone time and moving out into the world. But in any case, you're closing a cycle. So expect changes in terms of home, work, family, like you're wrapping things up. So nurture yourself. Make sure you're really good to your body. I think that's the best way of handling this transit because it's going to keep you grounded amidst your change. So Libra, this new moon, of course, is hitting your 7th house because your sign is the opposite of Aries. So it's all about your partnerships, your audience, the contracts that you have with other people, tacit or otherwise, the agreements that you have. And there's really positive changes here. It's going to be up to you to determine this is the new relationship story I want to be in, right? You could have some new romantic connections or friendships. That ought to be great. You know, it's a good idea to write down all the qualities that you want in somebody and then essentially employ them yourself, right? You want to attract people through your energy. So if you want somebody who's loving, caring, kind, generous, etc., well, embody those traits yourself. And if you're in a relationship already or relationships, be them professional, personal, these are going to deepen most likely. You might need to make some kind of adjustment, but good things for you are coming up in terms of relationships, new relationship story. Now you get Queen of Wands. Now this is interesting because your counterpart, Aries, got Queen of Swords. Aries got your card, Libra. And Libra, you got Aries' card. Well, Queen of Swords it's fixed, right? The queens are fixed. So Queen of Swords really is Aquarius and Queen of Wands really is Leo. But the gist of it is, you know, Libra is air and Aries is fire. Anyway, you got a fire card here. So this is telling you that you need to allow yourself to be fiery. You got to allow yourself to be confident. And honestly, when anybody dates an Aries, they become an Aries because you have to. You gotta become an Aries or else you won't survive, quite frankly. So you want to allow yourself to be this fiery person, right? You got to allow yourself to assert yourself. Nobody's going to be saying, oh, you know what? Do you have your needs met? Are you okay? Maybe they will, and hopefully they do, but don't count on it. You got to make sure, especially during Aries season, that you know yourself and that you master yourself and that you assert yourself. Otherwise, you will be trampled on under this season, right? So keep that in mind. Be fiery, know yourself, understand that you have established strength in the different areas of your life. If this is in terms of work, you've established your cred, right? If this is in terms of relationships, you know what you bring to the table and you're not afraid to eat alone, right? So allow yourself to be fiery. I wouldn't necessarily be dramatic, but assertive. Oh, I'm glad, sunflowers. Yes. So enjoy your new moon. Now, Scorpio, you got the pens and you got the papers and you got the calendars and you got the notebooks. You're getting your life running like a well-oiled machine, which is fantastic. So this transit for you, Scorpio, is all about your routine, which you love. I mean, Scorpios love their routine, right? Am I wrong? They love their routine. And this is going to be an opportunity for you to create a new routine for yourself, new things in terms of health, in terms of work, your lifestyle, how you're of service. And when a Scorpio puts herself at service, it's a big deal. Like they can really cut cake. They can do some really great work. So you may prioritize your health and your wellness. I would say that if you haven't been, this eclipse is probably going to give you that, you know, come to Jesus moment, right? You're going to have to. Like if you're not taking care of yourself, you're going to feel it during this eclipse. So you want to embrace positive lifestyle changes. Maybe you need a new job. Maybe you need a workout regime. There's an opportunity for you to improve your physical and your mental well-being. And this is really cool. You got the Judgment card, which is a big deal. This is the rebirth that happens after the death. Like after you go through the death card and you mourn the past and say, you know what, I'm no longer doing this. The new you emerges, right? The parts of you that have been dormant, the parts of you that have been dead or asleep, latent, they're coming alive. And you're like, oh, geez, I never knew this part of myself. I never knew I had access to this energy. I never knew I had this elixir. I never knew I had these resources. So this is really a new era for you. So you're taking a definite step, and do not be surprised if you get help from spirit, from your ancestors, from people in your day-to-day lifestyle. But you're hearing a call, you're answering the call, and this is a really good time for you, Scorpio. So enjoy your new routine. Oh, you love your routine? So do I, obviously. So Sagittarius, this is a fun transit. I'm so happy, Sag. You're going through a nice 5th house transit. You came at the right time. Are you a Sag or a Scorp? I think you're a Scorpio, Kelsey. I love your name. I love Kelsey. Great name. So Sagittarius, you've been going through it most likely with that full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo squaring your sign. That's not fun. But now, with the sun in Aries, this is a new beginning for you in terms of fun and creativity and pleasure and joy. So this is a wonderful transit. The 5th house is all about things that light you up, things that you really, really love. It's not too serious. This could be going to the arcade. This could be hitting the beach. This could be going to the movies. This could be an affair that you have as opposed to like a long-term partner. But it's that spark of creativity and self-expression. And it's almost irrepressible, I think, with the 5th house. Think about fire. If I have 2 fires that are nearby, they're going to catch on. So your fire, Sagittarius, and you're going to catch on to that Aries fire, and that's going to be great. So you want to pursue your passions and your talents. Find out what lights you up and just express yourself. Give yourself permission to fail. I think with that Virgo energy that we were in before, it's almost like, oh, geez, we sometimes don't do things because we don't think they're going to be perfect or we don't think we'll measure up. Give yourself the opportunity to fail. I'm going to do this. It's probably going to suck, but whatever. At least I did it. For instance, if you're a writer, you could say, I'm going to write the worst sentence I could possibly ever write. And then you just fix it, right? So there's recognition for you too, for your work and your skills. You're going to probably be celebrated. Now, you got the 8 of Wands. Now, this is interesting. Things might be coming to a head. You might be like getting this rush of inspiration. I know. I see it. This is the book I want to write. This is the screenplay I want to write. This is the art I want to draw. This is the choreo I want to do. Whatever. You're going to actually see it. Or 8 of Wands actually could be love at first sight. Right? So things are probably going to be taking off pretty quickly. So I would be on the lookout for things that really inspire you. And I also would strike into the iron while the iron is hot. With the 8 of Wands, it's like when it happens, you want to go for it, right? If you got to take a risk. The 5th house, like art, right? Like think of photographers. Good photographers, they see something. It's like that risk. Oh, I got to do something about this. Like now's your moment. That moment won't come. So allow yourself to be fast when you need to be fast. And as long as you're not hurting yourself or putting anybody in a compromising position, well, fire your shot with 8 of Wands and be quick. Capricorn. So this one's hitting your 4th house. It's angular, Capricorn. So it's going to be a little bit, it could jostle things around for you. And even if they're positive things, they might still be challenging, right? It's hitting your 4th house, your emotional foundation. So there's a new beginning for your home and family and your domestic life. So when you get through it, and again, sometimes we have to get aware of what's not working so we can make things really great, but there's going to be greater emotional security around you and stability in your domestic life. You're probably going to find yourself more deeply connected with your loved ones. And most important, you're going to trust yourself more. So Capricorn, for the love of God, give yourself this grace during this period. Give yourself a place to relax. Give yourself an opportunity to connect with the divine mother. Like, how do you need to be loved? How do you need to be nurtured? I'm sure that things are busy for you. They always are, right? But give yourself that place of peace. The card we pulled for you is Temperance. So this is about finding the right combination of things to make you well or happy. Think patience, tolerance, and temperament. So what combination of things are going to make you happy or well? And keep the even flow of feelings from you no matter what you're feeling. You got to keep it flowing, even if you're upset. I'm not saying that you need to be dramatic or stay in the dirty bathwater, but you got to flow with it. You got to let the emotions flow through you. Don't judge them. Oh, yeah? When something gets lost, yeah, so do I, for sure. And what's this? You need to oh, good. Okay, well, you're right on schedule. I hope you're rising. Ah, I see. Uh-oh, did I lose you? No. I think we're back. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we having technical difficulties now? Hold on 1 second. Let me see here. Sorry about that. I think we're back. The internet's great until it's not, right? So Aquarius, this new moon solar eclipse is hitting your third house. This is kind of easy, although it is an eclipse, right? So the third house is about your mindset, which is most important. Like, are you thinking in the right way? Are you thinking in the way that somebody would be thinking if they'd already achieved what you want to achieve, right? Oh, I'm Kelsey. Thank you so much for letting me know. I do appreciate that. Thanks for chiming in. So yeah, Aquarius, you're going to be thinking in a new way, and your attitude is going to change. And your attitude is a small thing that makes a very big difference. So there also is going to be new learning around you, new socializing. You might be very busy. The third house has to do everything. Like, so many things are part of the third house: short distance trips, writing, thinking, communicating, your neighbors, your siblings, your cousins, like a lot of people, right? So you're going to be busy. And there's going to be new opportunities for you. And you're probably going to be doing some new things in your social life. Maybe you'll be hanging out with a new crew. Now, the card we pulled for you is 8 of Pentacles. So you might be taking a class. Even if you're not taking a class, you're probably going to be really working hard on something and really being very Virgo-y. And I think that's good. I think that, with these retrogrades and eclipse season, I think it's nice for you to really slow down and really zone in on your process. Fall in love with your process, and the results will take care of itself. Because if you're not in love with your process, if you're not enjoying your process, you're going to rush. And as you know, haste makes waste, Aquarius. So if you feel compelled to take a class, great. Otherwise, I would say make sure you're re-looking at your past relationships and social experiences. Have you learned your lessons? Are you learning from your past relationships and experiences to ensure you're not making the same mistakes? These retrogrades, we have an opportunity to do things in a different way. So be prudent, be careful, be cautious. And last but never least, my fishies, Pisces. So you have a second house transit coming, Pisces. This is, about money. It's about your values. It's about your self-expression. The second house aligns with your voice, your throat, even your mouth, what you say. And it's really about your sense of self-worth as well. So you want to allow yourself to really zone in on how talented you are, your gifts, your abilities. This new moon solar eclipse is probably going to bring you more financial abundance and a greater sense of value in your life. Now, you want to make sure that your values are being checked off. Like, do you feel as if the same things that mattered to you before matter to you today? And you want to check in. Like, if something new matters to you, if you have an updated value system, you got to check in with yourself to make sure that your life is value oriented, meaning that you're making time for your values. If I value feeling really good and I feel really good when I eat clean, when I eat poorly, I feel a lack of confidence and self-esteem. That's an example. If you feel really valuable when you get your work done on time, then you don't return in an assignment late, right? Because you want to keep your value up high. So determine what you value and honor that. Probably going to be rolling in it. I mean, Pisces is pretty good with money. They usually don't have a problem. If they do have a problem with money, it's because they fear and they don't, they think too much. But you're going to probably be rolling in it. There's going to be opportunities for you all around financially. Prioritize your personal values and goals. Determine what matters most to you. Now, the card we pulled for you is the Wheel of Fortune. So things could get better. There's going to be new opportunities. If you've been in a bad patch, well, the cycle is changing. The worm will turn. And the big thing with the Wheel of Fortune for all of us is the Wheel of Fortune is going to spin. Life is going to happen. shit's going to hit the fan. Things are going to happen that are not going to be great. So you could be in the wheel and being thrown around by your behavior and other people's behavior and actions and what life throws at you, right? And then you're, it's like chaos, right? You're in the wheel. Or what you should do, Pisces, and everybody really, is stay at the hub of the wheel, the center of the wheel. So when you're watching your destiny spin around, you can be like, oh, opportunity, I want to go here. Oh, I got to watch out for this. I don't want to get into that nonsense. And then you got to stay centered at the hub of the wheel. So do that for yourself. Enjoy these opportunities. So it should be good. What's this, Marlo? Oh, exciting and overwhelming. Yes. Well, that's very Aries energy. That exhilaration that comes with fear. So do enjoy it. Well, we did it, folks. We went through every single sign of the zodiac for your new moon solar eclipse. Definitely check out all of my free resources below and check out my website if there's anything I can do for you. And, of course, I'll see you tomorrow for This Week Astrology at 1 p.m. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining today. It's wonderful to see everyone. And thanks for watching the replay if you're catching that. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.